program contains material that viewers may find unsuitable for younger children. A parental control system is advised. The following program contains opinions of the participants and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Dharana Media Network. The network believes in a safe space for all ideas to be expressed without any censorship and on its duty to create such a platform for free speech. Viewer discretion is strictly advised.
Hello and welcome to another episode of TPS, the Public Square on Ada Dharana News Channel, where we discuss about the most relevant and pressing conversations that shape the political landscape of Sri Lanka. Now, down the lane, we have been discussing about different segments that really affect the country's progress in terms of tourism, in terms of foreign exchange, and everything in terms of the continuation of this current government in the year 2026. Now, today we are going to discuss about something that is very crucial for the performance, the activities of a country, and specifically I believe when it comes to Sri Lanka, the name itself carries this particular element, and that is about the democracy. So today's topic is about the future of democracy in Sri Lanka as we have already stepped into a new year 2026. And to discuss about this topic, I have two gentlemen over here. Towards my right, I have Mr. Akalanka Senasinghe representing the National People's Power. Welcome.
Hello.
You. And also towards my left, I have Mr. Chris Balthazar from the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumna. Welcome you as well.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen. So for a change, I'm going to start from you to get an idea into the current situation of how you would perceive that how Sri Lanka is having the democratic element. Do you feel like when it comes to the institutions, when it comes to the political institutions plus the people involved, do you think currently, given that when you look back into the years 2024 before the NPP government came into power, do you think democracy in Sri Lanka is weaker or more stronger or rather centralized at this point?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. Getting on to democracy, when we come to think about it, we have to first remember 2022. So starting from the 9th of May, where the people, rose up. And we have to think about with the current situation that's happening globally, like for example, what's happening in Iran. The government at that time did not raise a single bullet or did not fight back. His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa stepped down from his post. And, there was an interim government that was appointed and that brought in the economic stability. Of course, so we were coming after COVID. So there was a global recession as well. It's not only Sri Lanka that had this problem, but the current government, who was in the opposition back then, they played their cards very well, and they came up to the people and they spoke out, and the people were also agitated. But as for the democracy, we as a government, as the SLPP government, we did not do any damage to hinder the democracy of the country. It was handed over and we stepped down, voluntarily stepped down. There was no forceful act, nothing. Then, of course, we saw a 2-year gap, and then we saw the new government take over. Of course, they got the mandate of the people. They really got their points very well. But the political, how they played their game, I won't say is fair. So government institutions were heavily politicized. We saw the police being, there was incidents where the police had been very pro-government in that sense. That happened with most governments, but this government especially, there was actions that happened. Then we saw in certain ministries where people were transferred, so the government service was withdrawn back. There was a large holdback. So as for the people's democratic right, I don't think the franchisee per se the voters are getting what they were promised. So there is lots and ifs and buts. But as for the franchise and as for the people's sovereign rights, democracy, we looking at the international steps, how far it's going to take forward is going to be a big question mark in time to come. And with political victimization, if you're going to keep harassing the previous rulers of the country and the previous governments and victimizing them in certain ways, based on false allegations, based on things that were just said on stages, so that blatant lies to cover up the government's, the lies that they said were coming into a pre-election, for example, the Uganda money. So if you say anything against this current government, we have seen where certain people are arrested. But the people who came out in public and spoke about, for example, Namal Rajapaksha's Lamborghinis, the golden horses, then this Uganda money, so many examples that can be taken in. There is no action taken against that. So is it democratic, or is it only in fairness to one section or the pro-government section that the laws are induced is a big question mark.
All right. So in that situation, I believe there is a question mark that I would take around in terms of asking you the question, because now given that what Mr. Balthazar mentioned as well, now given that situation, there has been allegations, and also since your government came into power with the segment of getting the proper notion of the majority of voters, bringing out you all are a pro-people party. Now given that now it's almost more than 1.5 years, and given that situation now, do you think you are still in favor, the government is still in favor when it comes to the democracy of Sri Lanka, the people of Sri Lanka, given that what Mr. Balthazar mentioned as well?
Yeah, definitely, like as a government, since we came into power. So now nearly more than 1 year we have been in power. So if we focus on the global democratic index, so we have climbed up 15 positions as a country. So this is the bigger picture internationally we can rely upon. And other than that, as my learned friend mentioned about, that there are some incidents that some of our government parliamentarians were mentioned about some incidents. Especially he mentioned about the golden horse and etc., Lamborghinis, those things. So the thing is that, as a lawyer also, I have to mention that. So we have to, if you are proceeding with a case, right, especially now we have expedite matters through Anti-Corruption Act, through Bribery Commission. So we should investigate first, and then we have to file a case, and there must be a strong case. So we have initiated those issues, those cases at the inception. So we are working on that. And also there are a few incidents that a few cases has been concluded against the past politicians. And other important fact is we don't have any grievance against the past politicians. As a government, what we are doing is we are in line with the Thriving Nation and Beautiful Life, the policy paper. As mentioned in the particular document, we want, as much as possible, as a government, we want to, without interfering in the government bodies, especially the police department, CID and other institutions, we want to ensure the justice, and also we make sure that there's no politicalization through our government. So up until now, I am disagree with my learned friend that we have not politicalized anything. Only thing is that we have let the government institution to make a firm actions. That's all.
Just one.
Yes.
Akalan, just to ask you, Akalan, when you say that the government agencies are not politicized, I would like to ask you, who is the head? Who's the secretary heading the police department?
Yeah, there are government appointments.
Yeah. So weren't they the same people who got on the political stage, and who went against it?
We have appointed the most suitable.
It's there itself. You have to withdraw your statement that you all have not politicized it, because clearly the secretary in charge of the relevant department And the person who was heading it was on your political stage. And these were things that you all pointed out to the previous government, saying that we were politicizing agencies. Yes, there was to a certain level, but we were not the people who went out and said this. We never came up with statements like this. So you all are politicizing every single government agency. For example, where you serve at the moment, the previous commissioner was transferred overnight. So you know, Mr. Manaperum, the previous commissioner, to be transferred overnight based on one political leader's directive. So there is politicization, and you can't disagree, and that is happening way more than any government in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to withdraw my statement.
From there, I'm going to cut short because we need to get into a short commercial break as well. So I think of that discussion alongside with the government and the opposition as well will move forward. Before that, let's go in for a short commercial break. This is TPS, the Public Square on Other Therana News Channel. With TPS, the Public Square on Other Therana News Channel, and I believe I disrupted because we needed to go for a commercial break as well. But there was a statement where you were disagreeing with what Mr. Balthasar mentioned as well, and Mr. Balthasar disagreeing with Mr. Senasinghe as well. So I believe I cut you short from there, but if you can, would continue?
Yeah, I mean, like continuously as a government, we are in line with the mandate that people are expecting from us to continue as a government. I mean, also to maintain the uncorruptive nature. So after being in power since 2024 December, so we have not interfered any institution. So we have filed. We have proceeded the cases. Through anti-corruption, CIABOC, through anti-corruption act as well, and also we are not dealing with the judicial. The process of the prosecution, and also we are not delaying the judicial process as well. So up until now we are doing that. And also, we also faced recent disaster as well, a disaster. So in a short period of time, we have to face few challenges as well. So we have to balance that issue and also ensuring the rule of law in country. So we are continuously doing that, and we are not interfering any institution because we are not. We are not politicalizing, or else we are not especially in the cases. We are letting the criminal investigation department and also the CIABOC to proceed the cases. So up until now, we are not doing that.
All right. Okay. Anything that you want to mention, Mr. Balthasar, with regards to
So, we as a opposition, we sat back and we said, okay, it's a new government. But of course, as we still speak, it's an extremely inexperienced government. And you can't only refer to the parliamentarians and the existing government. Now, Lanka represents the Dehiwala Mountain Municipal Council. I have represented that council since 2011. Until the last term. So, it takes time for us also to learn, and Lanka and them also on a learning curve. But you can't take that as an excuse because you have experienced government servants. Though the governments change, the government servants don't change. So there is clearly in certain segments where their party, their cadre, people who represented the cadre have been replaced by these top government servants. That is one reason where the delays in things were happening. There is a rumor says it that when the Victoria Dam was opened up, that the previous engineers were not the ones who were there. The experienced ones were not the one who was there. There's the allegation. I'm not saying that this is true or not. But sometimes devastations also could have been stopped. getting into disaster management, especially after Ditwa, they could have stepped in faster. Still the relief works are still going on. Still, in certain places in Nuwara area, there are camps where people are not being registered. It was one of their members of parliament who went and told the estate workers not to register themselves. And those people are totally deprived. So there is no, like agencies like the UN, they still can't get access, and there is no details coming out as to has the death count, the actual death count, the accurate death count come out? How many victims have been affected by it? Has this been put out in open statement? It's not indicated properly, and we know that those numbers are not correct. It is definitely not correct. So that inexperience is the main cause, and we as opposition, we gave them that chance. But how long more are we going to wait as opposition and keep our mouth shut? Because there is a limit as opposition that we can take, and as a nation that we can take. Because if we lead into things like this, it's going to be end up in a natural disaster is okay, but it's going to end up in a major devastation for the entire country. So as we spoke about democracy, we were democratic enough to step down, but looking at the government and looking at the history, when we read back 1978, 1979, what they have done, when you take that into focus, you have to start worrying. Now we saw Parliamentarian Arjuna talking about where the containers that came in. There is still no accountability. Now, if they are going to say, sending Mahinda Rajapaksa out of his house, putting Ranil Wickremesinghe behind bars because of one of his travel things related to one of his overseas, when he was the president. These things are nothing but where is the accountability for those containers that went missing? And this is with knowing the history of this party, where they have burnt buses, where they have killed monks, they have gone and killed priests, they have killed children. There's having that history. I'm not saying that Lanka and them represent that. No, you all have reformed. Okay, that is not the same. But those people are still within that segment. So sometimes it's very fearful when we speak on a program, because we have to first know whether they are representing the JVP or the MPP. Because I know the NPP clot, they were in this people struggle. There were people who came out of it, and they made good people. But those good people are incapable of doing it, because no matter what they try to do, it's the Palavat office that decides on what they do. There's always a shadow in representing them. In now Akalanka's case also, recently we saw in the Hivela Mount Lavinia, when they were cleaning a drain, not the local representative was there. But then some person who's appointed from Palavatta goes and shouts and says, why are you cleaning it? So this is a problem. So the accountability, and if they do go on this rate, and there is a people's uprising, because now the uprising trend was brought in by the previous opposition.
Yes, I'll take it from there, because the word accountability, I believe, plays a bigger role, given that in the current situation with the educational reforms as well, with the delay that has been happening and all. Now, I think the cyclone Ditwa as well proves a lot about accountability. So I believe that is something that your government came specifically in terms of, when you all came to power, transparency and accountability were the most significant terms that you used to bring about the entire spectrum of democracy. So in that situation, since Cyclone Ditwa was also mentioned, I believe there were certain delays, and also there has been now, it was the talk of the town, and it was very significant and massive in terms of discussion in the couple of weeks. But now it has been certainly fading down, and there's no current update in terms of the transparency, the tracking out, and how it is in getting back into normal. So in that context, if you have something that you would want to reply back and respond to Mr.
No, I mean, I have to quite disagree with Mr. Balthasar, because after the Ditwa disaster, it was happened really recently, like 1 month ago. So within that particular month, we as a government managed to complete, those who affected by the Ditwa, especially that the lesser amount, the 25,000, we have distributed 25,000 within that month. In end of that month, we have completed that task, and we have just started distributing that 5 million the flood relief, which is for the total those who destroyed the houses, those who lost their houses and also lost their land. So we have just started that, and we are rapidly doing that. I mean, there might be some incident because some areas that there are some difficulties, but 80% we have completed that task up until now. That 5 million, distribution of 5 million relief, now we have started. So in that aspect, we are.
So in a realistic point of view, what do you think?
Just let me just relate to something that happened in this studio when we had the commissioner of the disaster management center and all of them come in and tell that there might be a threat. The government has totally ignored it, and then they blamed it. So this entire thing, the action was based on just that the news was never said. When international media also reported it, and your channel especially did report it. So the people were forewarned. Once the disaster happens, then when you know that you're going to injure yourself, finding cure for the wound is not what you need. They could have healed. They could have, there were systematic ways where they could have, stopped a lot of these disasters happening. People could have been evacuated. People in Gampal were fast asleep when they were buried alive. You think those people deserve that?
No, what was happened was
then what does the engineer say? No, 10 minutes before we open the sluice gates, we sound off the alarm. At midnight when the alarm sound off, you want people to hear it? No.
Well,
and then 25,000, now we saw in parliament where your president came and said, Takaramak get lakshadayat deno.
No, we agreeable with 25,000, 50,000 and 5 million.
Was given.
Those are the figures.
25,000 is still being distributed. This is for cleaning the houses.
Yeah. Almost.
So what about the people in the camps?
Yeah, I mean,
what are you all going to do about those people?
Issues, so we can't do it 100%. No.
You have to, no. Don't
almost
forget.
More than 80%.
We as a government, we fought a 30-year-old war, and we got those people back into those their houses. We gave them their land.
Also, we got the warning on 27th, so we don't have any time to react to that warning.
That is not an excuse.
12th of November.
That is no excuse.
Lie.
Don't forget.
It's a different cyclone. It's a different thing. It has been proved.
We had the war going on, and then there was attacks happening.
It's a different issue.
We were able to evacuate people on time, saving lives.
The first warning is not related with Ditwa cyclone.
No, the possibility was
although I mean, like opposition try to bring up that.
No, so it is not the opposition.
We have got a proper warning before 2 weeks, and we have not taken firm action. That's what I try to say. No, establish.
No, the government. What did they all do?
Sorry for disturbing you.
But I'm saying, what did you all do as a government? You all jeopardized the media. You all went out and said, okay, if you all report like this, certain media channels.
We have not influencing any media. They spreading for whatever they want. And we have not taken any action.
I speak in one of the stations where the media heads.
Still private media acting fearlessly. We have up until we have not taken any action
in
to
Parliament.
Cancel their licenses. Right? So it's also democratic. We are talking about democracy today, right?
The chairperson of this media channel was openly threatened in Parliament, and he said, if you
I might say this is the most innocent government. Like we are not intervening, or we are not. Try to cancel the license also.
I think not.
They can do whatever they want.
The license here. So
there was a discussion. No? I am not saying that we are doing that. We are not doing that.
No, you are threatening.
We are not doing anything.
Anyone who opposes
social media. We can't control the social media. But only thing I am focusing on the electronic media and the paper media. That's all.
All right, because now when it comes to specifically, I believe Cyclone Ditwa, after it happened specifically, the notion of democracy, the way the government acts and makes sure that everything is getting back to normal, plays a crucial role in terms of how we all make sure that the people are comfortable in their own, because it's the governance and the sole authority of making sure that everything is accommodated and provided with, given that they face that kind of a situation as well. So now, just moving the tally around, now when it comes to the economic concerns, now this happened, Cyclone Ditwa happened on top of whatever we were going through, the debt, the IMF, the economic struggles, and the taxations and everything. So do you believe that currently, now when it comes to the democracy of Sri Lanka, the people are struggling big time when it comes to the economy of Sri Lanka? In that condition, do you think that you have brought out any significant reform to make sure that they are feeling a little less burdened at this situation, especially after post-Ditwa as well?
Yeah, the thing is that the DITWA incident was occurred early December. So currently we are focusing on distributing the foreign reliefs. And also we have discussed about joint ventures as well with foreign countries. So we have, the president himself also visited certain countries, and also we are focusing on bringing up a new constitution at least before the end of our term by 2028. It's in our policy paper as well, the Thriving Nation and Beautiful Life. And the other thing is that, apart from your question, like as a government, from the beginning, we are most, democratical government. We have not delayed any election. And also, frankly, like the provincial council election also, we are trying to bring up it within this year. So we are not delaying any election, the electoral democracy. So 100% we are ensuring that the electoral democracy persists in this country. And the other thing is substantive democracy. Well, rule of law. There's no issue with the rule of law. We are not interfering in any government institution, especially the CID and CIABOC and also the other institution. So they do their work, and we are not interfering, and it's going smoothly. And also and also the electoral democracy. So up until now, we are doing it properly as a government.
So something that I believe is a little contradicting is actually the provincial government elections. So that is something that you all have been mentioning that you are going to have it, and still for
we are in a discussion, but within this year we are planning.
So do you believe now, when it comes to the people, obviously the most direct mechanism of getting involved in the politics or the judgment basically for a person, Sri Lankan person, is to make sure to put a vote. Now provincial government elections are also very much essential, and now that it has been delayed, and given that what he mentioned as well, something that when it comes to them making sure, okay, by 2026 we are coming up with, but then there's no sign yet as well, because this was mentioned that they'll have it at the beginning of 2026, and I think it's enough and more time to put it into activation as well. So any take on that?
So when it comes to the democratic rights of when it comes to the franchise on the elections, don't forget Mahinda Rajapaksa is the most democratic person to give the people the voting right. The North that never saw a vote, they were given the provincial councils. Now all the local governments are there. Having 2 years remaining in his tenure, he went for another presidential election. So when it comes to democracy on that, of course it is the SLPP and our leader Mahinda Rajapaksa who actually gave this thing. The provincial council, whether to have it or not, whether it's a white elephant or not, is questionable. But if it's in the constitution of Sri Lanka, you have to have it. Or you bring in a bill and abolish the provincial council system. But economically, we saw this government coming in and saying, back in the time, where they can offer fuel at 112 rupees a litre. And that the tax will be removed, the minister is making so much of money and all of that. But we see now the same structure, the fuel repricing structure. This time there's only increase on it, but nothing reduced. So clearly this is all, it's all talk. There's nothing that happens. You take on news or on any index, they're doing brilliantly because the customs has earned the highest revenue in history. Any institution has been earning the highest revenue. Where are the people getting it? If the customs have got the highest revenue, or if all these agencies have got it, have you benefited anything? Has your fuel reduced? Has your price of your bread reduced? The milk powder that you give your children, yes, recently it was reduced by 25 rupees. Don't forget, these pricings came in with the economic struggle when the dollar was really down. And now the dollar is dropping, but the price is not changing. So that is because this government is totally incapable of, they can only talk because numbers are coming in. The taxes are coming in. The investors that we brought in are now starting to perform, and they are starting to do the development, and their exports have started. Within 1 year, if they claim to say that it was their government that grew up the economy, how can you say that? Because it was our government that gave the lands, did the investments and all that. So they are just going and pulling that curtain and opening most of these factories and this. So that is where the economy is being pumped into. If we were given the time to perform more, yes, we would have definitely done it. But they just did not give us that grace period. They were the people who said, Lanka to dollar ekak katyawan depa. We saw them say, don't send a single dollar. When this Ditwa situation came, what did we do? I'm saying not only Namal Rajapaksa, Sajith Premadasa, all of them, they appeal to the international communities because they don't have a proper representative to go and speak on international forums. We've seen how the representation on international forums, how they speak. I don't mean to humiliate anyone in that sense, but that is the level of representation, and that is where Sri Lanka has become a laughing stock. We were highlighted on international media saying that this is a minister that represents this country called Sri Lanka. So that is how bad, how low this government has dragged the image of our country.
I'll take it from there. Do you have any comment that you want to mention?
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Balthasar has pointed out a few issues. Likewise, he mentioned about bringing down the fuel price up to 112. We have not mentioned anything, any sort of thing, anything about through our policy paper. I mean, we have bring it down more than 50 rupees. Now it is less than 300. So we are doing our best to reducing the cost for the people, and in future also, especially in this year also, we are hoping to bring down the prices of the essential needs of the people, and we are not delaying the election as well. And also he mentioned about that one of our politician who mentioned that don't give any dollars, don't donate any dollars to Sri Lanka. So there was a reason behind that. So at that time there was the whole country as a whole, the system is bad, and also there was ongoing corrupted system. People went to street, and the mass struggle was begun in 2022. So there were issues, and also lack of lots of fuel and electricity, and we were heading, we experienced a economic crisis. So there are a lot of issues there. So people have lost their faith on the previous government, which was in the 2022. It was appointed in since 2019. After nearly after the pandemic, especially, people lose 100% of the faith of the current government at that time. Then government. So with a lot of faith and a lot of expectations, people have voted NPP, and we have, with a short period of time, we have completed, we have fulfilled most of promises. And also, as I mentioned before, we are hoping to bringing up new constitution and also strengthen the independent commission. So we are working on that in future.
All right. I believe with that positive notion, I believe the hope factor that you were continuously mentioning will actually be fulfilled in the year 2026 as well. So we are reaching to the final segment of TPS. Before that, let's go in for a short commercial break, and we'll see you back. To TPS, the public square on Other Than a News channel, and we've come to the final segment of discussing about the future of the democracy in Sri Lanka, because as we discussed in beforehand as well, given that the elections, given that the post-cyclone Ditwa, accountability, the transparency and everything in line with the people knowing certain facts, figures, and how it is in terms of democracy in the future, specifically I believe year 2026. So as we're coming to the end, I believe gentlemen. So first I'll ask from Mr. Balthazar. Now when it comes to the future, the year 2026, what do you think that the government should do differently? Because now in the recent situations, as well as I mentioned as well, the educational changes, the reforms, and telling that in 2026 they're going to work around it and then delaying it for 2027 is a bigger case when it comes to the accountability and the transparency. Aligned with that as well, what do you think as a final review?
When it comes to education, you have to remember that this government, the current Prime Minister, she was the big time advocate for asking for 6% for education. How much have they given the education? How many teachers unions went on strike asking for this 6% for education? So that's why I said, as I would like to ask Akalanka, how that book has close upon 150 pages. Okay, those are just prints. Those are just words mumbled and put down there. Go by page. If you can pass that on, I'll ask you. Tell me how many things you all have delivered on that book. How many things that you all have delivered? We as a government in 2019, no sooner we came in, yes, the COVID pandemic came, but then we still built 60,000 houses. We still built 300,000 kilometers of roadways. And there was so much happening. We were one of the most recognized in handling the COVID pandemic. Yes, there are certain things I know that you can point out and say that we went on different avenues but those are individuals who told not as a government. We were able to procure the vaccines in time for that. So you're talking of one disaster, but the disaster occurs when constantly what has happened is, see, the man who saved this country from the war, they kicked him out of his house. The man who saved this country from the economic crisis, they locked him up in jail. Then they go and they show the tooth relic, the sacred tooth relic. And where that relic stands, that entire town, because it was poorly planned, the entire town was a mess. Okay. Then finally in Trincomalee, now the Trincomalee, the priests, all of them who protested are arrested. What did they do? For the safety of the Buddha statue, they arrested the Buddha statue and went and put it behind bars. So then the gods could not handle it anymore. And then this is the crisis that this government had to go through because of all the things that they have done and all the lies. It's lie upon lie upon lie that they have continuously done.
As a final remark, if you would say one sentence to close up from your ocean?
Stop the bluff and do the work, because this is enough. We can't look like this for the people, because we need swift action, and if you all don't, we will be stepping onto the roads.
All right, Mr. Akalanka, if you may give the final remark to our...
Well, I have to answer to some points which Mr. Balthazar pointed out. Especially that we have heard that about that news, recently telecasted just now. So, we are not interfering anything. Like people, some, especially, religious leaders. So, if somebody interfere unnecessarily and they are trying to create, sensitive issues like religion. So, if they threat to the peaceful nature of the country, so the relevant authorities have to react on that. So, other than that, there's no special issue on that regard, because we are not interfering. From the beginning, we are not interfering. And also,
final remark with regards to the future of democracy in Sri Lanka along with your government.
As a government, people have given a mandate. So, especially the people expecting us as a government to maintain the democracy and maintain the especially we are up until now we have maintained the electoral democracy, and also we are hoping to maintain the substantive democracy, the rule of law and institutional democracy, and also the ensuring the people's the rights of the people. And also now people can question anything against the government. So in social media we are not taking any actions against them. We are even whether it's true or false, they are allegating us. So we are we are giving. We are answering to that, and we are working. So
one final sentence.
Yeah, I mean, like
democracy.
The democracy in safe hands, and democracy. What is meant by the democracy is the people should not be fear to the government, and also the government should not fear to people. But the power must fear the constitution. So we have to, any government have to abide by the constitution. So currently we are abide by the current constitution, and also the sake of democracy to, to bring up a democracy in another level. We are hoping to bring up a new constitution and do necessary legal reforms.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I believe this was a very insightful discussion in terms of how the current situations are and how the previous incidents with regards to the end of 2025 for the continuation of 2026, because we were discussing about the future of Sri Lanka's democracy. And I want to thank Mr. Akalanga Senasinghe, thank you so much, and also Mr. Chris Balthasar, thank you so much for joining us. And something that I believe all the viewers really need to understand and relate to is that democracy is not judged by the promises, but by outcomes, and also not by power, but solely through accountability. So don't forget to send your feedback to our email at feedback.adncenglish@lk or via WhatsApp at 076805793. We will see you again with another episode where we discuss about the most essential and crucial elements that shape the political landscape of Sri Lanka. Till then, take care, be safe, and have a good night.
Things